What, you're too good for us? Come off it, sister. What, you're too good for a fight? If you ain't looking to tussle, then stay out of the sewer. So they changed the whole sister thing. Misogyny, right? Misogyny. Don't call me sister. I'm not your sister.
I hope y'all are having a great day today, at least a better day than Paper Mario fans are having, because not only are Paper Mario fans getting a remake of a GameCube game running at half the frame rate, which I know isn't the biggest deal in the world, but it's also getting censored, which is that's just two L's stacked together right there. But the individual that we're taking a look at today actually thinks the censorship is good. Now, since I am talking about a smaller YouTuber here, I'm gonna go ahead and say do not go harass this person. I mean, we are talking about opinions over Paper Mario at the end of the day. But yeah, let's just go ahead and get straight into this. The video is called Paper Mario Censorship is Good, and I'll explain why. And I don't think many people liked this guy's explanation because of the like to dislike ratio, but let's go ahead and hear him out. Also, I'd like to point out before we get into this video that this guy also has videos defending the Stellar Blade censorship. Seems like this guy and the Chinese okay, I'm not gonna go there. I'm not gonna go there. Now, before we get into the whole talk about the censorship, I'm gonna say what the censorship actually is. It's one line that is being changed for a modern audience. I'm gonna first read out what the original was, which by the way, I played as a kid and seen absolutely no issue with. And then I'll go and show the modern, sequence that's gonna play out. The original went as follows. The Goomba says, hey man, what's up? Who's the hottie you got there with you? The Para-Goomba then says, what's up baby, why don't you hang with us for a while? We play real nice. The Spike Goomba then says, man, what's a fine looking Goomba doing with a tubby mustache man like that? Goombella, which is the female Goomba, says, oh, it's like so sweet that you boys think I'm cute. Seriously, yeah, you guys make me feel like totally barfing. Now get out of our way. The Goomba then says, ouch, that was cold. The Para-Goomba then says, what, you're too good for us? Come off it, sister. And then the Spike Goomba says, nobody zings us like that. Nobody, let's get 'em. After this, you go on to fight the Goombas and beat the Goombas unless you fucking suck. And then you just continue with the game. For whatever reason, they decided to censor this in the modern version, and the newer version's gonna go like this. The newer version goes as follows. The Goomba goes, hey man, what's up? You think it's cool to just waltz our way into our underground? The Para-Goomba says, typical, you surface level snobs are so stuck up. Ooh, I get to see the sun. I like to breathe clean air. Ooh. And then the Spike Goomba says, yeah, come over here, scruffy mustache man. We're gonna teach you some proper manners. Goombella then chimes in and says, leave him alone, can't two academics and a world-famous hero wander the sewers and a port town in peace? If this is your usual greeting to visitors, then you must have learned it down here because it stinks. The Goomba then says, ouch, that was cold. The Para-Goomba then says, what, you're too good to a fight? If you ain't looking to tussle, then stay out of the sewer. The Spike Goomba then finally says, nobody doesn't start a fight with us, nobody, let's get 'em. Now, why they chose to censor the original version, I don't know, and this isn't something that's gonna like ruin the game or whatever, it's like one line, like who cares? But yeah, I don't get it. And there's some people saying it's a more accurate translation, which I don't think is the case because the entire context around what's happening is changing. It went from the Goombas doing some cringy flirting to them kind of shitting on Mario. I think it's a negative thing overall though, because we're censoring art for the feelings of people who probably aren't even going to play the game in the first place. Pushing all that aside though, I just think censorship in like whole is bad for society. But anyway, let's get into the video where this guy tries to defend it.
Let's talk about the Paper Mario changes, aka censorship. I don't think this is censorship, okay? In my opinion, I think this is localization changes. There's a difference to it, right?
Now, it is possible that it's a localization change, but I doubt it considering, like I said before, the entire context of what the Goombas are doing is changed. And in the modern world where so many things get censored for the smallest of reasons, can you really blame anyone for not thinking this is a localization change? I mean, I remember recently we were having pointless Christmas songs being taken off the radio for seemingly no reason.
I was always interested when playing when looking up stuff on theflyingomelet.com. I was interested in the localizing changes they did from Japan to America, or whether it was, you know, the A version of the cartridge to the B version of the cartridge, whether it was this patch or that patch. That always sparked an interest in me. I loved hearing about it. I loved looking into the code about what they changed from this version to that version. Like, for example, the Stellar Blade, cleavage, nudity changes. That's been going on since the beginning, guys. That's why, to me, it was like big friggin' deal.
A lot of Stellar Blade players think it's a big deal because it was advertised as an uncensored kind of fan service game, and then once they bought the game, they went back and changed what people paid for. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I have no interest in Stellar Blade, but people had interest in that game because it was an uncensored fan service game, and when they bought it, they spent their hard-earned money on it, they went back and changed it. When you advertise something and you expect people to pay for it, you have to deliver. That's why I take such a big issue with Xbox Series X and PS5 games running at 30 FPS. They promise 60.
This isn't something to create a petition about, right?
How dare those people who have a problem with something create a petition to try to see change, those pieces of shit. In fact, if it were up to me, there'd be a lot more petitions in the gaming industry.
Well, guess what? There's Paper Mario changes. Where's free Paper Mario hashtag? It's not exist, right?
Well, there's a big difference. Paper Mario wasn't advertised as a uncensored fan service game, so it's a little bit different.
They made localizations to Final Fantasy VI when it came here with the Siren Summon. In the Japanese version, you can see her thong and her boobs or whatever, and when they brought it over to America, they covered her up in the sign. Where was free Final Fantasy VI hashtag back then?
Just because people didn't kick a fuss about something in the past doesn't mean it couldn't have been a problem back then. People are more aware of the problem of censorship in video games nowadays, and that's why people are kicking more of a fuss about it.
So let's go to the first screenshot here, and look what they have here. So right now, you got the Goomba, the guy Goomba character, you got the female Goomba character, and you got Mario. And there's three Goombas, bad boys, quote unquote, the bad boys off screen, and this is what they say. Hey man, what's up? Who's the hottie you got there with you? And then when you go to the new remade version, this is what they say. It turns to the three Goombas and they say, hey, yeah, come on over here, scruffy mustache man. We're gonna teach you some proper manners. Alright, so there's a change you got right there, side by side. In my opinion, the reason they changed this screen right here, in the first one they say, who's the hottie you got there with you? We don't want the idea of catcalling in video games. Why? Because the old Paper Mario, which was released on GameCube, I believe, that was targeted toward more of an adult crowd, right? I didn't really see that many children playing the Thousand Year Door on the GameCube back then, an RPG.
Bro, Mario and even Nintendo in general has always been targeted towards children. What the fuck are you talking about? You always hear people say that Nintendo is kiddie garbage, which I disagree with, but, you know, like, to each their own. But yeah, like, it's always been, like, targeted towards children. And I doubt any kid is gonna see a Goomba catcall another Goomba in a video game, and then they're gonna go do that exact same thing in real life, unless they've been, like, kicked in the head by a horse or something. Who cares if they're doing something in a video game that wouldn't be acceptable to do in the real world? That's why it's a video game, it's fantasy. Also, if they're, like, catcalling or whatever, they're doing something wrong, obviously, you literally defeat them for it, so where's the issue?
So I can see why that was put there, because the crowd is a little bit more older. In the newer version, this is targeted toward kids.
Alright, let's not kid ourselves here, no pun intended. The original Paper Mario Thousand Year Door was also targeted towards kids. I played it when I was like 10.
Because it's the Switch. It's going to be an easier version of the RPG. The same thing they did with Super Mario RPG Remake, they made the game easier, right?
That's something that doesn't only apply to Nintendo games, though. They've made all video games easier, which is a shame, and it's because journalists like to cry and bitch that games are too hard for them. Honestly, thank God that games like Devil May Cry, Doom, and Dark Souls exist, because those have never changed.
The remastered version, the old version's actually harder. So now in this new version, they don't want to use the catcalling in there, because they know that kids are going to be playing in there. They know kids will be there, they know girls will be playing, young girls will be playing.
Yeah, and I knew tons of girls growing up who played Paper Mario the Thousand Year Door, and not a single one of them had an issue with this catcalling scene, because, like, the Goombas that are catcalling literally get defeated for it.
That's why they made this localization change, to make it more easier and not threatening for kids to be playing. Because if kids are playing and a girl is playing, if a young girl is playing and they're getting catcalled in a friggin' game, that's a problem.
Except they're not getting catcalled. A fictional Goomba is getting catcalled, and after that fictional Goomba gets catcalled, they defeat the Goombas catcalling them. I mean, in a way, it's kind of teaching you that catcalling is bad, because after the Goombas catcall you, you kill them.
We don't need anything about catcalling in the game. Second screenshot. On the left is the original. What's up, baby? Why don't you hang with us for a while? We can play real nice. Then the change version. Typical. You surface level snobs are so stuck up. Ooh. I got to see the sun. I like to breathe clean air. Ooh. So in the new version, because they're in the sewers, they're talking about, oh, you're so cool because you're not in the sewers and you get to breathe clean air and outside and you're seeing the sun outside of the sewers. But in the older version, what's up, baby? Why don't you hang with us for a while? We play real nice. Yeah, there's a problem with that.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but this does not seem like a localization change to me. You're telling me a localization change would change them from flirting with another Goomba to talking about how clean the air is. I doubt it, bro.
There's a problem with that. If the target market for this game is gonna be children, right? Because the Switch, remember, most of their target market on the Switch are kids. They're the ones buying it. Kids are the ones asking their mommy to pay for it and buy it for them.
The GameCube was literally the same way. I remember asking my mom to buy this game for me for Christmas.
That's a huge problem. What's up, baby? Why don't you hang with us for a while? We play real nice. Imagine if a young 8-year-old girl is playing this game and she got to read that text box right there. That's a problem.
Why is that a problem? A Goomba called another Goomba baby. Oh no, dude. I mean, it's the end of the world. Hopefully that person has never listened to the radio in their life, where literally almost every single song on the radio includes that word as well. Oh no. Hopefully they've never watched a movie in their life, because a lot of movies include that word as well.
We don't want these young kids to be corrupted by all this catcalling and look what it's pretty much saying. Why don't you hang with us for a while? We play real nice. You know what that's insinuating.
Yeah, nobody's brain is gonna get corrupted because they heard a Goomba call another Goomba baby. Oh my god, bro, like, Jesus. I played Left 4 Dead 2, which is the game I'm playing in the background right now, at age 8, and there's a lot more, like, violent or whatever material in that game than Paper Mario, and I turned out fine.
For all the old people watching this, you know exactly what that means, right? You know what that means, and we don't want kids around that crap. So that change right there I see on the screen, I accept it. That's a good change. Man, what the old version, man. What's a fine-looking Goomba doing with a tubby mustache, man, like that? The new version. Hey man, what's up? You think it's cool to just waltz your way into our underground? So, yeah, there's another problem there with the text of the old Thousand Year Door text. Man, what's a fine-looking Goomba doing with a tubby mustache? We don't want kids feeling like they're fine-looking, right? At 7 years old. That's a huge problem.
But they aren't talking to the 7-year-old playing the game, they're talking to the Goomba in the fictional video game that doesn't actually exist. And then because the Goombas decided to say what they said, they got defeated, so if anything, like I said before, it's kinda teaching kids that it's wrong to do what the Goombas did. Just like how Bowser will burn the Mushroom Kingdom to the ground in the games and get defeated for it. Should we actually remove that as well because it's wrong to take a flamethrower to a village? When kids see these Goombas act this way and get defeated for it, it's telling them subconsciously in their mind that what the Goombas did is wrong.
And I can see why they made that change. Imagine if the daughter's playing that right now, 7, 8 years old, and their mom or dad is in the back watching her play, and then they see that text and she's reading that, what's a fine looking Goomba? And the girl's gonna pretend that she's the Goomba, what's a fine looking Goomba? Yeah, we don't want that kind of talk to a young kid.
Except you play as Mario and not the Goomba.
So that change right there in the text, I can see why that's true. I can see why that's legitimate. I can see why they did that. There's a major problem with this whole text conversation between Mario and these 3 Goombas when you involve kids into the scene. And that's what you don't want. I don't care. First of all, changing this doesn't really change the uniqueness of the game and the actual authentic of the game. It just changes something where if a young girl who's 8-year-old is playing, it's not going to be too offensive. Because that would, if I had a daughter, I wouldn't want her reading this text saying, "What's a fine looking gooba like you do?" If she's like 7, 6, 8 years old, no way. I don't like it.
Yet you'll probably send them to a public school where they hear infinitely worse on a day-to-day basis. I remember getting into a physical fight in school when I was 7 years old. But yet, you know, Paper Mario is unacceptable. I can't even make this video with a straight face, dude. I promise your kid is hearing worse in public school than a Goomba calling another Goomba baby, which isn't even a problem in the first place because you defeat the Goombas calling the Goomba baby.
Next screenshot, it says, "Oh, it is, like, so sweet that you boys think I'm cute. Seriously?" And then the new text says, "Leave him alone. Can't two academics and a world-famous hero wander the sewers of a port town in peace?" I can definitely see why they changed that. Imagine a 6-year-old, girl reading this text. "Oh, it is, like, so sweet that you boys think I'm cute." Yeah, boys shouldn't be thinking a 7-year-old girl is cute. No way. Especially Goombas, because these Goombas in the game, they're not kids. They're adults.
Hold up, how do you know the age of these fictional Goombas? I mean, they're fucking brown blobs with no arms and just 2 legs. And if anything, they look the same age. I mean, the Goombas all look the exact same.
In the game, these 3 bad boy Goombas in the sewers, they're supposed to be meant like adults, right? Maybe young adults or adults at all. This young Goomba is a girl. We don't want a 8-year-old girl reading that. Even a 7-year-old boy. I don't want a 7-year-old boy reading that so sweet that you boys think I'm cute. Nah.
Bro, like, genuinely, what is the big fucking deal with this? Oh no, a Goomba called another Goomba cute. In a fictional video game, a brown blob with no arms called another brown blob with no arms cute. Oh no, dude, it's the end of the world. I'm sure that kid has never heard worse in their life.
The old version, "Yeah, guys like you make me feel like totally barfing. Now get out of our way." And the new version says, "If this is your usual greeting to visitors, then you must have learned it down here because it stinks." Okay, so this one says, "Guys like you make me feel like totally barfing." That's insinuating because they're so ugly that I want to throw up. That your personality is so disgusting and you're so ugly the way you look that I feel like throwing up. Yeah. This one's kind of iffy why they changed it, but I can see why, because I have seen in media where they said, "Wow, you're so ugly, I want to throw up." Yeah, a 6-year-old shouldn't be saying to another guy, "You're so ugly, I want to throw up," because at that age, they're a bit too young. 7-year-old, 8-year-old, 9-year-old, they're a bit too young to know anything about, "You look bad, you look ugly."
Well, apparently now children just don't know that ugly people exist, and they're not even talking about the way that the Goombas look, they're talking about the personality of these Goombas, which is once again insinuating that what the Goombas are doing is wrong because they got called ugly for it. As I said before, and this is the last time I'm going to explain this, but we should be keeping this in the game because it is teaching kids that catcalling is wrong because the Goombas get insulted, called ugly, and defeated for doing it. I promise you nobody's gonna get fucking corrupted because they heard a Goomba call another Goomba cute. You know, I've been around a lot of older people before, and they'll say to me, "Your generation is just extremely soft, dude," and it's annoying, like I get sick of hearing it a lot of times, but man, I can't blame them for saying it when you got shit like this going on. If you shelter your kids from the real world to the point where you're scared of them hearing a Goomba call another Goomba cute, you are doing more damage to your child than you would be if you let them just play the game. In fact, you are doing more damage to your child by sheltering them this much than you would be if you just handed your child a controller and Grand Theft Auto while they're still inside the womb.
That's later on in the teenage years when kids will be like, "Yeah, you're ugly, I don't want to go out with you." But at an 8-year-old, 9-year-old, 10-year-old size, they're not saying anything about looks that much.
I think you're just completely disconnected from the real world. Trust me, kids talk about each other's looks a lot, especially as children.
Not that much. So that changing to actually the new version of this text actually sounds pretty good. I actually like the joke. "If this is your usual greeting to visitors, then you must have learned it down here because it stinks." Yeah, these 3 Goombas are in the sewers all day. It does stink. So that new change, I actually like that. Not bad. Ouch, that was cold. Ouch, that was cold. Yep, nothing wrong with that. That's good. It was a cold remark. What, you're too good for us? Come off it, sister. What, you're too good for a fight? If you ain't looking to tussle, then stay out of the sewer. So they changed the whole sister thing. Misogyny, right? Misogyny. Don't call me sister. I'm not your sister, right?
So apparently calling someone sister when they're not actually your sister has something to do with female rights. How many men have I called bro that aren't actually my bro? I'm pretty sure I called fucking Kabulo76 my bro in my comment section, and he's been in my comment section for the past 3 months telling people to follow the fate of Kurt Cobain. In all honesty, this just seems like a sad attempt to get internet brownie points. It just screams, hey, I'm a good person, look at me. Like, dude, nobody's falling for that shit.
So in this old text, you're too good for us, come off it, sister. Yeah, I can see why that would be offensive to a female if they're playing this. Come off it, sister. I'm not your sister.
Yet there are so many games and instances in real life where people who aren't your brother will get called bro, and nobody has a problem with that. What about men's rights, dude? They're calling me bro and I'm not actually their brother. You see how stupid that shit sounds?
Treat me like every other person. Treat me like equally like a man. I'm not your sister. Okay, that's like basically saying come off it, honey. You know, some females don't want to be called honey. You know, they feel offended by that. So, and those are all the screenshots. I just gave you my opinion on it. I think they're actually valid.
That pretty much brings us to the end of the video. While I might not agree with this guy, he is completely valid in having this opinion, and I respect that. So please do not go out of your way to harass this person. I mean, we're talking about opinions regarding Paper Mario here, and yeah. If you guys enjoyed, leave a like. If you didn't, you can leave a dislike, a salty comment. You can tell me to follow the fate of Kurt Cobain, like people have here. Anyway, let's go ahead and wrap it up.